miles. That's almost $7,400 on this Buick Enclave leather. Experience the new Buick this holiday season for remaining 2017s.
First Things First is sponsored by Gillette, the best a man can get.
Welcome back to First Things First. We are now joined by Super Bowl champ
in the
Chris
building, bro.
Hansen.
My next
Good
partner.
to see you guys, my guy.
With the purple.
You trying to get him out of here already?
This is Chris's favorite thing.
He loves you,
That
Chris.
mug almost broke down last segment, man. We might have
saw
to.
it, man.
I
He
thought I was
broke
going to
that
have to send him
ball
to
thing
Caesar
down.
sign
No, it
or
was really sweet. It was endearing. I loved it.
Yeah,
you,
real cute.
I appreciate
it.
Love the side of Nick we don't always
When
see.
it comes to rivalries,
No, do not even think of binary. Stay off my corner.
Yeah, I gotta take yours.
Stay off my corner.
folks. Now,
Hey, when it comes to rivalries in sports, I know exactly what you guys are thinking. Tanya Harding and Nancy Kerrigan. And while, yes, that is a big one,
Man, they
huge,
get it in.
they do, let's not forget about the spiciest of all rivals, Ravens-Steelers. Pittsburgh is looking for their 8th straight win. Baltimore looking to solidify a playoff spot at 7-5. Chris Kenny, you spent your last 3 seasons with the Ravens. Tell us what makes this rivalry so good, so special, so much must-watch, must-see.
Well, in the words of Ben Roethlisberger after that Monday night game, this is just typical AFC North football. The only difference is I think there's a little bit more of a mutual respect between these two teams than Pittsburgh has with Cincinnati. Yeah. But looking at this game with the Ravens,
I would say that, sorry to cut you off, I would say that the respect, too, is on the level of a college. Alabama, Auburn, Ohio State, Michigan. Like in those games, the games are highly contested, but there's such high respect that you don't see the fighting and the disrespect.
Agreed, CC, but I'm going to add to that and say this is the best rivalry in pro football. No doubt about it. It's going to be a physical game. I think these two teams know each other. They know what to expect. Joe Flacco, last 7 games, he's been pretty good up there in Heinz Field, 4-3 record, 8 touchdowns to 3 interceptions, 64% completion percentage. But this year he's been so bad, I can't have confidence that he's going to play well in Heinz Field. That's why if the Ravens are going to have a shot in this game, it's going to have to start with the defensive side of the ball. And it's not exactly a good week to be missing your best cornerback in Jimmy Smith. He's got the torn Achilles. He's going to be out going up against Antonio Brown and Martavis Bryant and Lev Bell and that potent passing attack with Ben Roethlisberger as the head of it. So it's going to be a tough out for the Baltimore Ravens. I see the Pittsburgh Steelers being able to make enough plays. They're running that offense through Lev Bell now, not only as a rusher, but as a receiver out of the backfield. They won the game in Baltimore earlier this season. I think this is the year they sweep the Ravens. They're going to win this game on Sunday.
Wait, Chris, take a quick step back. This is a Steelers team coming off a real tough win, a dangerous win for them, a brutally injury-prone win. They lost a lot of guys. They felt it, right? And there was a lot of emotion. Now you have that team come back out and they have to sort of put it behind them and get themselves up again for yet a really, really big rivalry, just like they came off of. They're doing it without guys like Ryan Shazier. Like they've got their work cut out for them. How do they get themselves up for this?
Well, I think from an X's and O's perspective, they'll be able to overcome the loss of Ryan Shazier. There'll be a little bit of gymnastics in terms of who's going to be called in the plays on the defensive side of the ball. But from an emotional perspective, I think they'll be fine. Mike Tomlin will find a way to be able to use what happened on Monday night for the team to rally around, and especially going into a big game like this, the emotions will be high. I think Mike Tomlin will have this team focused and ready to go. So I look to see the best of the Pittsburgh Steelers in this matchup.
On paper, not like the Eagles-Rams, where you can go down and be like, wow, I can see why one of these teams won 10 games. I can see why one of these teams won 9 games. With Baltimore, you're like, wow, the only way they won 7 games is their defense and their special teams. Their offense has been horrific. This is my concern. In a game like this, and Pittsburgh did win earlier in Baltimore, to me, this would be the upset of the week. And the reason why is how this game is sandwiched between 2 very emotional entities. Where Pittsburgh came from last week, not only with the win in Cincinnati and what happened on the field, but their teammate that they're thinking about who's still in the hospital. Now, Ryan Shazier is one of the best players in Pittsburgh, but he's also one of the leaders of the team. And I know it will have an effect on them, not only on the field from an X's and O's standpoint, but from an emotional standpoint when they play against Baltimore. Who they play next week. I don't look ahead to the schedule, but Pittsburgh told me, and Mike Tomlin told me they play New England. I go week to week. I've been programmed like the coaches. Me and Mangini, Nick gets on our nerves, going up and down the schedule. Now he's going up the schedule to start the season. Now he's going backwards on us, Chris.
Yeah.
But because they brought it to my attention, I'm worried. That Cincinnati game. Oh, New England next week. Oh, don't forget the Baltimore Ravens. Because with that defense, and they know Pittsburgh well enough, even though not on paper, no, it doesn't say Baltimore, but for me, this is the game that if Pittsburgh is upset, I wouldn't be surprised because Baltimore knows them well. Baltimore can match their physicality. Now, can Joe Flacco just please show up?
No, he can't. He can't.
Tell him Nick.
Okay.
He's been
Tell him Nick.
I had a great case.
so
My closing
bad.
argument was good.
Right. He's been so
Just scratch
bad.
that from me. Scratch the last thing for the record. Please scratch
Flacco
that.
can't be good. This is why I think the schedule fell really well for Pittsburgh, that it is Baltimore before New England. Because what has been a fair criticism of Pittsburgh, played a level of competition. They are a team that will admit we are looking ahead.
Right.
And sometimes, you know, when we talk about, not a trap game,
Yep.
like the Steelers are a team that are known to fall into that trap. Ain't no trap game against Baltimore. Like you are.
Baltimore gets their undivided attention.
Exactly
No doubt.
right. Like this is a week they played Tennessee a few weeks ago. I wouldn't want to be playing Tennessee this week. You know, a game where you're like, okay, we're better than them. Even though they have a good record, we're focused on New England. Baltimore is absolutely going to get their undivided attention. Now, you were saying how Baltimore got to where they are is defense and special teams. It's also been fortuitous nature of the schedule. Here's who they've beaten this year. Cincinnati, then Cleveland, Oakland, Miami, then Green Bay without Aaron Rodgers, then Houston without Deshaun Watson, and then Detroit. So they haven't beaten a single team with a winning record. The teams they played this year are combined 32-52, and 9 of those wins came with quarterbacks that Baltimore didn't actually have to play. So Baltimore has had just about the easiest route to 7-5 that any team in the league could have, which is why I agree with you. I'd be shocked if Baltimore wins this game.
Yeah, but since they played that game in London, right?
Yeah.
And since there, the defense, right?
The defense has been outstanding.
Now, how many weeks has that been?
So they played the game in London. That was our game with our friend Ray Lewis. So that was 7 weeks ago.
Okay. All right, just the defense now. Since Ray prayed in London, he was on his knees over there praying. That defense, I mean, he was praying for the babies. Ever since then, the defense. Now Jesus needs to touch Joe Flacco's arm.
Chris, stick around. Coming up, are the Eagles being disrespected by the Rams? It's next on First Things
Take this
First.
disrespect, Philly.
Man, it's about the babies, man. It ain't about no respect, man.